Jesus said, "Amen, amen, I say to you, whoever does not enter a sheepfold through the gate, but climbs over elsewhere, is a thief and a robber. But whoever enters through the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens it for him, and the sheep hear his voice, as the shepherd calls his own sheep by name and leads them out." Good morning on this Monday, May 4th. I'm Father Walter, and I'm here with Brother Hyacinth, and we're working on our Mystagogy project in this fourth week of Easter. And our word for this week is recognition. And in this gospel of the Good Shepherd, Jesus invites us to recognize him first as the legitimate shepherd. So you think of all the people in our lives who would like to lead us in whatever area of life. Jesus proposes to us that he is the one who should lead us, and that not only does he propose it, his statement in the gospel is that we know it. That by faith we know his voice, and we do not doubt who he is, what he says. And we know that voice because our ear is attuned, so that we can hear it when we're not in church, when we're at work, when we're at home, when at play, when in love, when dealing with money. We can hear it. We can hear it. And he says that what makes his voice credible is that he has entered through the gate. He has entered through the gate. I think we can think of that gate as his constant obedience to the Father's plan. Jesus himself models what he says, because Jesus models what he himself says about voices being attuned, because from the beginning of his life to its end at the cross, its human end at the cross, its fleshly end at the cross, that's the better word, Jesus is constantly attuned to the Father's voice. And he is constantly acting within the unfolding of the Father's plan. We want to obey him because we recognize that he himself is obedient. And you catch this when, for example, he says to his mother at the wedding of Cana, "It is not my hour." Or when it says in another place, the crowds could not arrest Jesus because it was not his hour. And then when he says in the upper room, "Now is the Son of Man glorified," then it's his hour. Then it is time for the passion, only when the Father says. To be attuned. Jesus is a model for us because he himself is obedient. Now just think about that. Think of what we usually experience in leadership. We experience leadership as winning, as dominating, as defeating all the alternatives. And Jesus doesn't do that. Jesus, in his flesh, lives and dies as part of a plan larger than himself. And because of that, we perceive through him the reality of God. And that is credible to us at the head, the heart, and the gut. And that's his point, that seeing Jesus, we get him without having to be told too much. We say, this is the one whom I follow, because he himself followed God from beginning to end. Jesus says to us at one point, enter through the narrow gate. And of course, this is what he himself does. Enter through the narrow gate. So the moral life that Jesus will give us is one that he himself lives in the flesh and lives happily in the flesh. And so what that's doing for us is that in the light of the resurrection, we can perceive the moral life in a new way. Not just as the collection of rules we must follow to get led into heaven, or to be found socially acceptable among our companions, but to come to recognize the moral life as something we want to embrace precisely because entering into it will transform us. That the disciplines of it will reshape us and reorient us toward the final goal. And that is why we can see in him the image of humanity not crushed under the weight of rules, but a humanity that is recrafted and happy in a life that is harmonious with God, neighbor, and self. In the resurrection, a whole new view of morals, and a happy one. Have a great day. We'll talk again tomorrow.